The Black Summer situation of 2063. Basically, Italy's gonna face the worst heat wave of all time. The northern Italian city of Milan faced severe water shortages as temperatures soared to 53 degrees Celsius. That is 127 degrees Fahrenheit. There's also an exodus from Italian citizens as millions flock to escape the heat wave. It appears they might be going into the Swiss Alps. The city of Turin has protesters that are going against these stay-at-home orders to demonstrate. It's so hot you're forced to stay at home. That doesn't make any sense. Also, we're seeing alpine glaciers melt in highest temperatures recorded in history. Well, I mean, let's look on the bright side. At least that's, you know, like water to play and blow yourself off or something. City of Venice experiences worst flood in history. This river has literally ran dry because it's so hot. Fishermen having problems fishing. The capital city of Rome is at 55 degrees Celsius, which must be nearing 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Political chaos has erupted. Oh, okay, that makes everything so bad. Mount Vesuvius has made its return. That would make everything literally 10 times worse. In Sicily, there are terrible wildfires, and the highways are getting so hot they're literally breaking. Obviously, agriculture would be super messed up near towards the boot. This city is facing 61 degrees Celsius. These are obviously unimaginable numbers. Now, it sounds like everything was made 10 times worse because of the volcano erupting in southern Italy, but could you imagine what it would be like in northern Africa? These places would literally cease to exist. The Sahara Desert would basically be extending northward, making pretty much almost all of the northern part of this continent inhabitable. Watch them have an equally horrible winter too, since all that volcanic ash is in the air. This is a universe known as the Red Sunset, and this is a world map back in 1987. So automatically, just from the name alone, I'm imagining the Cold War except the communist one, or maybe they're about to win perhaps, but let's find out. According to BBC, the US is in martial law after our president got taken out. We also have the Soviet Union dropping the nuke on Japan as well. Apparently a civil war took place on these islands in 1941. That is why Japan is still separated to this day. Meanwhile, Korea is united. There was a democratic Japan and a communist Japan. Obviously, the normal people supported the obvious ideologies. We do, however, have a democratic China. I guess they were able to defeat Mao. They were not able to keep Manchuria, though, over here. It also appears we have a democratic Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. There's clearly some sort of anti-communist Asian alliance happening over here. Maybe somewhat similar to NATO in America and this part of Europe. It also seems like Africa is very divided. Several communist members, but some are still non-aligned as they were historically. In our timeline, here are the original members in 1961 of the non-aligned movement, or at least the conference attendees, that is. So a lot of Northern Africa, as well as India, Indonesia, Yugoslavia is a big one. All history doesn't always have to just radically change the world map. It can do something like this. Do small twists and turns with like explanations. That's so much better. 10 out of 10 map, 10 out of 10 universe. Please go check this out. How World War I completely reshaped Europe. So we're looking at the new 1904 borders overlaid on top of the 1898 borders. Wait a second. World War I didn't start in 1898? I have no idea what you're talking about. It did. So in this timeline, not only did Germany have Austria-Hungary's help as well as the Ottoman Empire, they also had the British Empire, and unbelievably, it didn't go well for that side. Wait, they also had Italy as well? This is crazy. I guess this map is sticking to the fact that no matter what, if Germany is in a world war, they're going to lose. So in this universe, Austria-Hungary clearly did get completely broken apart, but I think Hungary is going to be a lot more happy with this. Italy, however, has been divided down the middle. The northern part, some of it's going to France, the other side going straight to a new nation of Venice, this side to Serbia, Sardinia becomes independent, this island and the boot actually goes to Greece. Greece is actually really powerful in this scenario. Italy just barely exists. I mean, they got as bad of a punishment as Germany did. The Germans are losing territory to France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Russia, even Denmark in the north. Meanwhile, is this France picking up the southern part of England, and Scotland is taking a bunch of northern England. The United Ireland and Scotland have also become independent at this time. They were under the British Empire. I'm actually trying to conjure up a scenario where this universe's central powers does lose. It's really difficult though. All of this, including the colonies, and then the big one, let's not forget all of the UK as well. One thing for sure, maybe the British don't call upon their colonies somehow, so they don't get India, Australia, Canada involved. Obviously, France and Russia are on the same side here in Europe. And of course, they gotta have America's help to even have a chance. That's still only only 3 that's facing all of this. I'm gonna go ahead and mark all the British territory too, just so everyone can get an idea how crazy this situation actually is. I mean, if the US is involved, then definitely there's a war in North America. I don't think Canada can avoid that. Man, I really don't know. Oh, you know what? They have Japan over here, but I don't know what Japan's really gonna do. Maybe Japan goes after Australia and New Zealand. And remember, this timeline wasn't playing out World War I in the same year, 1914. It's playing out like 15 years earlier. Was Japan really ready to take over all this stuff 15 years earlier? I'm thinking like France is gonna need the Netherlands help, throw Spain and Portugal in as well, just cause. Maybe China? Is that enough? I still don't think that's enough, to be honest. Throw Brazil in? Even Brazil, I don't think that is gonna do that much. Yeah, I'm just not imagining the Central Powers losing this, but, and this is one way to maybe make it close. Still love this thought experiment, very nice map. What if the Treaty of Tordesillas was actually a Protestant thing, and between the Dutch and the British? Remember, in our real-life timeline, the Treaty of Tordesillas was actually between Spain and Portugal. It was obviously a Catholic thing as well. And as I've covered many times before, Spain got most of the American continents except for Brazil. That's why Portugal started Brazil. The Portuguese were also allowed to have all of Africa and a majority of Australia, but not New Zealand and the eastern side of Australia. That was given back to Spain. There's already so many memes about this whole thing because these two places just decided to literally divide up the world without asking anybody else, but it still has a huge impact on today. This is why the only South American country that speaks Portuguese is Brazil. It all started from this thing right here. But in this universe, things are a little bit different. Also, the way they divided the map is a little bit different. So whoever allowed this to happen, was it the Pope? I mean, this is a Protestant thing. I don't know who did it with them. It was the Pope in the real treaty, but they allowed the British to have pretty much all of North America. Exactly all of North America. They also got a little tiny sliver of this part of South America, which is kind of funny because the British did actually colonize that part of South America. This was known as British Guyana for a very long time. I guess they weren't given this by the treaty. This was just like anyone's land until they came up with this treaty. Everything south of the equator, though, was going to go to the Dutch. And in this timeline, we actually have our Dutch Brazil. Remember that we did have a Dutch Brazil for a minute there, and they got pretty big. How crazy would that have been if just all of Brazil was actually speaking Dutch instead? This treaty takes that equator very, very seriously because throughout the entire world, the Dutch is given everything south of it. Meanwhile, the British are given everything north of it, which means they can still get their British India as well as parts of the Arabian Peninsula and British Malaya. I have to kind of admit here, I feel like the Dutch are getting the short end of this stick, but maybe that's because they are the smaller empire in Europe after all, just like Portugal was. There's just a lot more land that the British are going to get out of this. The biggest change this universe would bring is a Dutch-speaking Oceania. There still would be overall a similar Indonesia, or maybe not. Maybe the Dutch put all their resources over here instead. I guess this timeline doesn't deny the existence of the other treaty between just Spain and Portugal. This is just the Dutch and British response, like, hey, we're gonna divide up the world too. Or France, they're just left out of it. I'm kind of surprised they didn't actually do this in real life, just to make a point. What if Islam, instead of spreading west, actually went east instead? So to start things off, we still have the origin points, Medina and Mecca in the Arabian Peninsula, and by 644, they've expanded through half of Persia into Baghdad, getting very close to the Caucasus Mountains. In 660 AD, Islam has gone through almost all of Central Asia. By the 8th century, they've reached the deepest lake in the world, Lake Baikal. And finally, this outer layer extends all the way to the 18th century. So over the course of 1,000 years, Islam has spread all throughout these lands. It's a pretty interesting scenario because it kind of almost asks, what if the Mongol Empire was actually Islamic? I mean, if that was the case, you would think there would actually be a lot more countries following Islam in this timeline. I'm thinking especially Russia too, maybe, or at least they'd be very divided. Now, China not mostly converting to Islam makes sense since they kind of already had a thing going on by this time. Same with India. I could see where it would stop right here. Obviously, in our timeline, Islam spreaded mostly west, actually getting all the way deep into Iberia, even southern France, which obviously started the Reconquista in this region and, you know, the Spanish Inquisition, which of course no one obviously expects that. So I wonder what place has their own Spanish Inquisition in this timeline. Maybe China in Manchuria, or I mean, at this point, I don't even know. It wouldn't be China. It's like the Qing dynasty or something. Maybe Korea. I wish this map showed where Islam was they lost territory. I guess it could have technically been in Russia. Maybe they did wrap around. Maybe actually the Mongols did spread it a lot, and then there was a massive Spanish Inquisition, or basically a Eastern Europe Inquisition. Totally forgot to mention we even have Islamic Japanese in this northern island. I've got so many questions. Good map. After deciding enough was enough, Greece's neighbors finally decided to team up to take them down. Working with the best and brightest engineers and scientists, they created an artificial lake. Also, all Greeks around the world were forced to move here as well. I don't know what's more amazing, the artificial lake or the fact that Egypt, Italy, Albania, Macedonia, and Turkey all working together to make this happen. This is quite the accomplishment, I guess. So using this region of Greece, they just decided to make an even smaller Greece. And this island basically already looks exactly like Greece, to be honest. All they did is just make a little inland lake here, carve some stuff out, pour some water in, and you're good. The world would literally know no difference at all. Who gets original Greece, though? It looks like it's mostly Macedonia. Ah, yes, the only way to make Greece even greater. This map is titled A Hope for a Better Germany. Basically, we're going to take the modern-day 2023 borders of Germany and give them back their old shape, the ideal German borders, temporarily. Meanwhile, Austria will take care of Bavaria, Poland with mostly Eastern Germany that was formerly communist, Netherlands are going to get the north, and finally we're going to have thick, big Luxembourg. So obviously we have Germany before idolized, but then we have a phase 1 to the German borders. Since it's phase 1, is the plan to just continue to make this shape even smaller and smaller, I guess? Also, I like how randomly Czechoslovakia was brought back. Is this what we should have done after WW2? Is that what they're saying? Wait, sorry, it seems that I made a mistake. This is actually given to Indonesia. How dare I make that possible mistake? I don't want to live in a world where Germany doesn't border Indonesia. Oh, I guess phase 1 is described as Germany existing just before Germany is no longer supposed to exist. They're not supposed to exist in phase 2. And big thanks to my patrons. Help, this is the real Drew. I was kidnapped and that's the imposter.
Argentinian
the slow,
grandpa.
depressing Portugal
Schengen,
Brighton
follow
Amateur,
Archaeology,
is alive.
John,
Traven,
KirinoIsBestGirl,
Phresh Animations,
TheGreatRalphy,
the Polish
I
Mexican
kidnapped Drew.
His ransom is 5 fillet
ZaneyBoi,
fish,
and why am I doing this?
308 Negro Royal Lane.